Africa is in the spotlight, a continent of over 1.2 billion people. The culture, the food, the ideas, all coming together, uniting to build solutions. Tech Expo Africa is a social enterprise event that brings these ideas together in an exposition in a bid to foster deeper collaborations and unite communities. For inquiries and sponsorship, call 081 3399 5500. Tech Expo Africa, enabling development.
All right. So let's kickstart and talk about remote opportunities in 2023. As I go on on this slide, like I said, it's an interactive event. You can just drop your questions on the chat, and then maybe once we are done, you can also unmute your mic and ask your question. So let's look at the remote opportunities in 2023. But the first thing I want to talk about is, what do we actually mean by remote work? What it means to work as a remote worker. That's what they call people that work remotely now. They call them remote worker. And a lot of countries are opening their borders and giving out what they call nomad visas to remote workers. And the truth is that the world is becoming a global village. To some people, the world has actually become a global village. But when it comes to Africans, to us, the world is just becoming a global village, because now the global world are now trying to also consider Africans into the space of technology, the space of remote working. I'll be sharing a few things while we go on, because it was really amazing that a recruiter reached out to me some couple of months ago. I wanted to recruit a business analyst. The offer was £500 per day. And we're already running the interview. It was more of just an interactive session interview. And they wanted the business analyst to just help them gather requirements. So when you talk about gather requirements, it's like, and the truth is that a lot of us are actually doing the work of a business analyst, but it's that you just understand what is the role of a business analyst and what do they do in terms of your day-to-day. I could see Abisola here. Abisola is also trying to venture into remote work. And I mean, we had a conversation like, man, you are very good. You are good to go for business analysis. The truth is that a lot of us have actually been analyzing businesses. You have been relating with people. See a business analyst as when you go to a restaurant and then you meet any of the waiters, and you tell the waiters that I want a black coffee, or I want a coffee with milk, and I want it with sugar and all that. What that waiter is doing at that moment is actually gathering your requirement that this is what you want. And then she will, or he will, go to whoever is going to prepare a tea, or whether it's a food, and then tell the chef that this is what the person wants. The person wants chips with chicken, with maybe burger, with cheese and all that. That's the role of a business analyst. And we also have product managers in this space. They'll also be sharing what it means to manage a product. So we all work together hand in hand. So, but let me just finish this presentation and then open the floor for others to chime into the conversation. I want us to look at some of the opportunities in terms of remote opportunities. And one of them is being a website designer. Web design is a career. I mean, being a web designer is a career that I don't think is ever going to die, because the truth is that the more businesses are coming up, you need to showcase what you do as a business. You need to show and tell what you do. And having a website is, you are sleeping and you are telling people, you are telling prospects about what it means, what your business is all about, or what your brand is all about. I think I have a few comments. Okay, no worries. Let me just be done with this one. Well, because what I want to do is that once we get to some of those career, I would like to bring up some people that are already doing it, and then they will be talking about it, how they do it remotely. Okay, Lawrence, all right. Thank you for joining in. Do you mind sharing what it is like to be a website designer? You can also share a few things about the front end, the back end, and then does it require that you must know how to code before you can be a website designer? Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Lawrence by name. So when it comes to website design, let me assume that we are all familiar with what the website is. So, and like the host said, so even as a business owner, everybody we are trying to showcase, or we are trying to bring our presence to even beyond where our physical office is. We want people around the globe to be familiar with the services, with the products we are selling. So one of the tools to actually do that is by having a website. So you are trying to bring all your services, all your products, and every other thing about you to the awareness of people that, okay, this is what I'm actually doing. Now, you mentioned front end, back end, and full stack and the like. So when you are talking about this website design and development, you can actually be a front end, back end, or be a full stack developer. So when you're talking about front end developer, that means you're actually in this aspect, you focus on the user interface of the website. I'm sure that we've already interacted with one website or the other. We've been to a website. So that's beautiful aspects of the website, those beautiful images, pictures, layout, designs that you see out there. That's what the front end is all about. So the user interface, how beautiful the look of that particular website. So that's the front end part of the website. So when you're talking about the back end now, okay, before going to the back end, so when you're dealing with a front end developer, there's technologies or languages that are used as a web developer. So if you want to become a developer, you have to code. Yes, you should be able to write some lines of code. Though we still have some content management system that you can actually use like that requires less coding, but it's advisable that you know how to write few lines of code, like should be proficient in programming. So now, as a front-end developer, you are expected to know how to you are expected to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and other front-end development languages. So that's that. So for the back end people actually deals with the user experience of the website, like how the kind of experience you get from the website, like the usability. Okay, let me use that word, the usability, how usable that your website is. So the kind of experience you get, some websites have a very, you build some website and the kind of experience you get is very terrible. That's due to the backend. Okay, let me just give an example now. Maybe you're on a website, then you try to log out. Let me just say that. Maybe it's by mistake, just click log out. No, a good user experience, you actually prompt you, okay, are you sure you want to log out? So then you clicking OK, then that's actually like a good user experience. Just like you just click log out, then the stuff just log you out like that. Though sometimes it might actually be related, but I believe that's actually an example of a good user experience. I just use that to create an analogy for us. So for backend developers, you are expected to know some backend technologies like PHP, which is, we can still discard that. So you are expected to know that Python, other backend technologies that they use.
I think I have a question, Lawrence. So
okay,
must
sir.
you know how to code before you can be a website designer?
Like I said, it is actually expected for you to know how to code. Though there are some content management system that like bridge this gap of coding and the likes, but let me say you expect to know how to code. Okay. To be a website designer developer. So that's about backend. Then full stack. Full stack is someone that knows both the front end and the back end, that can work proficiently with both technologies. So even you are able to construct or design the user interface, then you are able to deal with the user experience at the same time. So either you are a front-end developer or you are a back-end developer, you are a full-stack developer, the little knowledge of coding is actually required. And so even and also this thing has some different level of difficulty when it comes to like which one are you going to actually go for. So if you are the type that actually love to design beautiful user interface, then front end actually is actually okay for you, because this one doesn't require much how am I going to put it now? It's not as difficult as, to me, let me say personally, as the back end, because the language you're actually dealing with, mostly the only programming language there is JavaScript that you're going to be dealing with. So the others are just markup language and styles. So that's that's that. Yeah, I think I'll.
Thanks a lot, Lawrence. Thanks a lot for chiming me in and sharing your thoughts. So you can also check out what we call WordPress. WordPress. I'll just type that on the chat, or if someone can help me type it there. WordPress. That's like one of the tools that you can learn within 2 weeks, and you can start designing websites. So when it comes to designing a website and getting remote opportunities, it all has to do with how you can continually practice and get used to WordPress. I can tell you, try and do a research. Yeah, thank you, WordPress, Wix, Webflow. A lot of companies, some of the big companies you see out there, they actually use WordPress for their, the chat is not public. Oops. Let's see that. Okay. All right. I think the chat should be public now. WordPress. A lot of companies out there, they use WordPress. Their websites are powered by WordPress. And the amazing thing is that you can design a WordPress website within 24 hours. A full functional website within 24 hours. So like a company I consult for in the UK, they're actually looking for website, website manager, and you need to have a WordPress skill set. So there are a lot of companies like that are also looking out for website managers, website designers. They will have you on retainership, or they can just, some of them could be per project. They just need you to design the website, and then you hand over all the credentials of the website to them. So let's move on to the next one, and that is okay. I think Olawale Flair is joining us now. He's a product manager for Polaris Bank. He's also going to be sharing a few thoughts on how he started his career and how people can also, what is it like their day-to-day. Samuel is here too. The other one is social media manager. I'm looking out for Bola Are. He's one of the social media guys. In fact, we have a lot of social media guys within our social media team that are doing extremely well in that space. And what we're looking at is that we want to start linking them up to remote opportunities. The truth is that there are lots of opportunities out there. LinkedIn is one of the platforms that you can use to leverage on getting opportunities. I think Mr. Oshinoiki, I want him to join me later to discuss about where you need to go to get noticed and then to get all these opportunities to get onboarded. Mr. Oshinoiki is the vice president of People's Technology, and People's Technology, it was when I met him, I had to go and find out about what does People's Technology mean, and it actually has to do with human resource. And that's really amazing that there's also a career like that has to do with People's Technology, how you manage people. I know Mr. Oshinoiki is also, I would like him to also share a few things regarding to that career, and then how you can also get noticed from all the different platforms that we have all over the world. So we've got social media managers, we have virtual assistants. Virtual assistants, you are managing people's accounts, you are managing people's itinerary virtually. You are not seeing them, but you're helping them to manage all of their tasks per day. We have graphics and brand designers. I know Femi is here. Femi Greater Height is a brand designer. You'll also be chiming into this conversation to talk about what does it mean to be a brand designer and also a graphic designer. We have a lot of graphic designer also in the house that they are going to be chiming in. But some other career I want us to look at is copy editor, copywriters. It was some couple of months ago I found out about people have been shouting about copywriting. What does it actually mean to be a copywriter or copy editor? And the whole idea of copywriting is just to generate content. You copy a content from somewhere, retweak it, make sure that it fits to what your client needs in terms of the content, and that's it. There are tools, there are platforms now that, like Copy.ai is an AI platform that all you just need to put is a subject and put a little body content. It's going to generate a content for you. And that's what a lot of copywriters use. They just go on those AI platforms, put in what my client needs and a few 1 or 2 words about what the client wants in terms of the content. The AI platform generate the content for them, and then they give it to their customers. They are being paid for that, working remotely. Let me invite Mr. Shola Oshinoike if you would like to speak now, just to share a few things, a few perspectives regarding to some of these opportunities, and from a people technology expert and having lots of experience in that field. Please, I'll yield the mic to Mr. Oshinoike. Thank you for joining us, sir. And Merry Christmas once again to you and everyone.
Somebody is messing with your face and they're putting a beard on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I just have a couple of comments on what has been said so far, and then I will talk about 1 or 2 things, and then really I just wanted to do a Q&A rather than deliver a lot of content. But let me just share my screen quickly.
Okay.
If you allow me share screen.
Yes, also, of course.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to do was because, what's his name? Mr. Shola just made a comment, but I wanted to, give me a second. Okay, let me start with this then. So first of all, I wanted to kind of talk about ChatGPT, which I'm sure many of you, if you haven't already played with it, I will just kind of talk you through it. So we're talking about website development, and as you were talking, I just said, build me a website to sell books, and basically give you all the step-by-step things you would need to do to build a website to sell books. And then I said, please show me the HTML for a website like this, and basically gives you the HTML. Then I said, I would like to please change the site to work with JavaScript. And then it's automatically generated me a new website, which would then have a JavaScript code goes right here. And then it then gives me the JavaScript code that I can put inside there. And I could actually continue and ask it to give me PHP, React, or whatever, and it would do that for me. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there that, look, there's a lot going on in the world, and to kind of stay on top of everything, you need to kind of be aware of what's going on and use these AI tools to leverage your own skill sets and your learning. That would be the first thing I wanted to say. Let me stop sharing. Sorry. Yeah. And then the next thing I wanted to just talk about, just based on
that ChatGPT so that people can also check it out.
Yeah, ChatGPT. Is the biggest thing that's happening right now. And then when Mr. Shola was talking earlier, like what companies use WordPress, actually WordPress at the moment, they say it rules 65% of the market share. And then it gives you examples. So Time Magazine, one of the largest, uses WordPress. Sony Music uses WordPress. TechCrunch uses WordPress. And actually, TEDblog, Vogue magazine, they all use WordPress. So it's interesting, right? That organization that much. I mean, there's so many other ones that use WordPress. Even Microsoft News uses WordPress. So just to kind of buttress the point that Shola Kenny was making earlier, to say there are many different ways in which you can actually, there's a lot of ideas right now around no code. So a lot of website development without writing a single line of code is probably what's happening in the future right now. So I just wanted to add that. Then the next thing I wanted to add, and I'm sure some people have said this already if they've not said it before, there are sites like Fiverr, Upworks, Freelancer, where you can be sitting in your home and already beginning to help other companies do things. Like there's always opportunities. And if you are of any of the skills that we talked about already today, you should be registered at least on one of these sites and have it as a side hustle to develop copywriting, a website. There's so many things to validate code, to do testing. There's definitely lots of things that can be done remotely. COVID really gave us an opportunity that has taken remote working to a whole new different level. And maybe just to talk a little bit, because Shola can introduce me as a HR technologist, and a lot of people don't realize that it's a growing space. And it's growing space because, when I started when people started in HR, you had a filing cabinet with your name and your date of birth and your home address. Now, all that is digitalized. And because it's digitalized, there's a need for technology to host this information. And so that's kind of how the space has grown. And now, anything to do with wellness, benefits, payroll, the recruitment, all these spaces is the HR technology. So it's kind of a very, very broad space, but not many people have broken into it because they don't really know much about it. But there's hardly any multinational in the world that doesn't already have a HR technology department. So hopefully that's helpful. Shola Kemi, just in terms of just some quick comments, but yeah, happy to take any questions, or you can continue with the flow. I'll be in the background for another maybe half an hour or so.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I think I've got a question regarding to HR, because I've got a couple of people that also started the HR courses. What does it really mean to work remotely as an HR person? Because we've got quite a couple of audiences that work in Nigeria at the moment.
Yeah.
Nigerian perspective to working is you must come to the office.
Yeah.
So, HR person, how do you think one can leverage on remote opportunities?
The easiest one is recruitment, right? So recruitment can be done from anywhere, right? Because at the moment, a lot of people that are recruiting people from all over the world, So the first area, the easiest area to get into HR remotely is in recruitment, because you can be in whichever country you're in and still be recruiting. In fact, companies like my company right now, we're sitting in Germany, but we're hiring people in Portugal, we're hiring people in Nigeria, we're hiring people all over the world. So recruitment is one area in HR that you can definitely begin to look at and try and get remote working. That's the first one. Second one is onboarding. So a lot of organizations, particularly organizations that hire a lot of people, they need a team to onboard. There's a lot of onboarding is being done right now by onboarding is done a lot now by remote people who are sitting in a remote location. And so therefore the technology is increasing so that you can have more people onboarding. The next space is around HR analytics or HR data. That's another key area. So anybody that can use things like in my team, I have Tableau developers, I have Power BI developers, I have people who can write JavaScript, who can write Python to kind of massage and manipulate the data. So HR analytics is another area where, because a lot of the data is already in the cloud, so it doesn't matter where you're located, as long as you can log into the cloud, you can get to the data and you can do analytics on the data. So those would be some of the areas where in HR it's quite easy to kind of get into a remote role. But right now I have my head of my long-term incentives. He sits in South Africa, I sit in Germany. Technically he's remote from me. So there's definitely opportunities in that. Am I seeing a question? There's a question. Oh, what's the HR analytics? I think it's a new thread. So HR analytics kind of came out because of a lot of technologies moving to the cloud. So a lot of HR data, HR was the last, give me 1 second. HR was the last area to move into the cloud. Finance was already in the cloud, but HR was last because there's a lot of personally identifiable data, so people were worried. But now people like Oracle, Workday, they've created all these robust HR platforms, data platforms that are well secured, and because they are well secured, you can now put more data in the cloud. And because there's more data in the cloud, you now need to do some analytics around that data. For example, how many headcount do we have in a country? Where are our best people performing, etc. So things like that is where HR analytics comes out. I can look for a slide quickly that kind of explains that in a second. Let me just do that while there's, let me just quickly look for that. I hope that makes sense. So that's the HR analytics, and it's a growing area. It's definitely one area that's growing, and will continue to grow, because the more data you have in the cloud, the more analytics you need to do about the data. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so while you're looking for that slide, if you have more questions, please, you can. Okay, I think let me allow for one or two people. I mean, if you want to talk, let me allow you to talk.
Okay, just before you do that, let me just quickly share my screen. I found the slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me wanting to talk, but let me just quickly share this.
Okay.
Let me go to, yeah. No way, I won't do the whole shebang. But basically what I was saying was that, originally HR was sitting on, I don't know, why is this person trying to take over my screen? Okay. Right. So as I was saying, when you think about it, HR was used to be in filing cabinets locked away, and then it gradually moved on to Excel and Access, and then we moved into the ERP space. In Nigeria, you have things like what they're called, system specs, etc. Right? But there are many platforms out there, and then with time, we kind of moved into the software as a service platforms. So there's now more data in the cloud, and actually the way it's all going is more AI-enabled HR technology. And to your question around people analytics, so you now have all these systems. You have HCM, which is human capital management, payroll, functional data. What I mean by functional data here is more like learning platforms, data from recruitment, data from benefits. There's so many areas that you create data to go along the way, disciplinary data. So all that data now goes into like what you call HR insights. And it starts from basic reporting to insights to predictive analytics. And you can see here the analytics maturity model. This is created by, I can't remember who created this, but you can see that you can start with what happened, how many people did you hire, why did it happen? Why did you lose 10 people in the company, right? When will it happen again, right? So you can begin to predict, and how can we make it happen? How can we make it such that we want to make sure that we hire more millennials? So how can you make hiring more millennials happen? Why did we lose all the millennials that joined our company last year? So this is the different aspects of HR analytics, describing what happened, diagnostics to say, okay, what's been happening, predicting to say what's going to happen in the future, and then prescriptive, the way you're actually making data happen, where you can force data elements to actually happen. I'll do one more slide and I'll drop. Yeah. And then when you look inside of the HR jobs of the future, this was created in 2020, where there's so many interesting jobs that are already beginning to manifest themselves already. You have the human network analytics guy, you have the director of well-being, you have the human machine teaming manager. I think Walmart already has hired one of these people right now. You have the chatbot and the human facilitator. I mean, there's so many different things. You can actually find this online. It's called the Center for the Future of Work. And they did a whole research about what kind of jobs will be in HR going forward.
Okay.
I can go on forever.
These are HR opportunities. Can you go back to that format, the last slide before this one? Okay, guys, look at this 21 HR job opportunities of the future that we all need to plug into. Look at it. Human network analyst. I mean, they are amazing. I've not even heard about a couple of them here. So please, guys, you can go to that reference, check it out, Center for the Future of Work. And so I know one of my colleagues, Choma, she's also picking up the HR, she's going into the HR career field. So these are opportunities that you can really leverage on Okay, let me release the mic for a couple of people. Yeah, it's been recorded to move into the next one. A question, sir. I think this is a common question. Mr. Oshinoki, how can
Yeah.
one get started in HR analytics? And let's say all these HR opportunities, how do you think one can get started?
I mean, I think the best way to get started in HR analytics is to learn the tools that are used. So if you're good with Excel, you're good with Tableau, you're good with Power BI, you're good with any other, business intelligence tool, then you can start looking for jobs. I just hired a guy in my team who hasn't done HR before, but he was good with Python and he was good with Power BI. So he will learn HR on the job, but he already has the skill set to manage analytics. So I think it's more around making sure that you are clued up on tools like Tableau. Tableau is quite easy to learn. You can get a free download for 1 month and learn it and play with it. Power BI, if you know Excel, then you already got your foot in the door with Power BI. So it's knowing those tools that are used to push data or manage data that is very, very important. And at the moment, I know in the US, they have a shortage of around 2,500 power HR analytics people. They just don't have enough people. And I have friends who are doing 3 or 4 jobs because they can't, right? Because they work West Coast, East Coast, and then Central Coast.
Can you get this job from Nigeria, sir?
Pardon?
Can you get these jobs from Nigeria?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
So if somebody can just put in the chat Tableau, maybe if you can, let me see if I can quickly find it, and I'll just put it in there. Yeah. So if you can master that tool and just go and look at jobs, remote jobs, you'll find out that Tableau, not necessarily just for HR, but Tableau as a data visualization tool is definitely one of the key jobs out there right now. And it doesn't matter where you are. So my Nigerian friend who's working for 2 American companies, one in the West Coast, one in the East Coast, is just a Tableau expert. And that's how she got the job. She got the job remotely. And if you go into LinkedIn and just search for jobs, under jobs, and just put in Tableau and type the word remote, you will see the jobs come up.
Yeah. I think a lot of people need to leverage on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The thing that I do sometimes, if I want to look at a career opportunity, I go to LinkedIn and just go to jobs and then type that career name into the search box. And you'll be amazed the number of jobs. Well, I'll be sharing a couple of them. The number of jobs, their remuneration in terms of salary, remote work opportunities. So I think a lot of people you need to leverage on LinkedIn for a lot of all these opportunities. Yes, thank you for sharing, sir. Let's look at another career opportunity, and that's business analysis. I would like to invite my good friend, Peter Olamiriki, to share what it is to be a business analyst and what it is like, your day-to-day activity. I'm also a business analyst and also a product owner. And so I'll also be sharing how I started as a business analyst. I learned business analysis, all the tools, in less than 3 months. And I think the 4th month, before the end of the training session, actually, I got a remote role. And there are quite a lot of people out there that even self-develop. It was not like they paid any company to start learning how to be a business analyst. I know of a sister that did self-development, everything. She just went on YouTube, understanding the tools that a business analyst needs to use. We also have Scrum Masters. Someone is asking, does HR analysis require coding? I don't think it does. Power BI, all those tools, I don't think they require coding. I want to believe that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Oshinoki.
No, you're correct. I mean, there's some advanced stuff that you can do, but the basics, you don't need coding. So the more advanced you want to go, I mean, I have people in my team that code in Python, but those are the extreme. My head of department doesn't even do any coding at all. So a lot of these tools are drag and drop.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. So I'll yield the mic to Peter Olamirike to share with us his journey and how people can also get started. Then I'll be coming later to share about how you can get started, how you can self-develop yourself, materials that you can leverage on, get started. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shola, for this, for always organizing, engaging, and value-driven conversations. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody on the platform. I am a business analyst, a senior business analyst with AICPA. And one thing I've discovered about business analysis is the fact that is the opportunity it gave you to be part of the value delivery of projects. Sometimes when I look at business analysis, I strongly believe that most people have these skills, but they are not just aware of it, or we commonize it and we're thinking, oh, I want to go into IT, but I want to focus on coding and stuff like that. So business analysis is one of the professionals or career in IT that leverage strongly on soft skills and making sure that organizations deliver products, deliver projects, deliver solutions that are value-oriented to all stakeholders involved. In the past 2 decades, so the focus has always been delivering projects that are efficient, managing the 3 constraints, managing the budget, managing cost, time, and capacity. And there was less focus on the value itself that this product or project is giving to all the stakeholders. And sometimes organizations discover that they deliver projects effectively and efficiently, but it does not give maximum value to all the stakeholders involved. And that was what led to the birth of business analysis as a professional. So this is a profession that deals with looking into all the basics in terms of requirement gathering, in terms of generating insight from data to make sure that organizations deliver projects using the best method and without neglecting all the stakeholders and their interests. So, and I say, and this kind of, and it's one of the leading IT professions in UK and across the globe, and it's highly paying. And when I migrated into it, I started my career as in the banking industry, and I'm an agric person. I have a farm, and sometimes I used to tell people that, oh, I'm a farmer. And if a farmer can migrate into business analysis within 3 months, how much more you that you are not even a farmer? So I migrated into BA as a farmer, and I started as a senior business analyst for one of the global organizations for AICPA, which is a global organization that is in charge of accountancy globally. So I'm working with a project team that cut across 177 countries, and we are implementing a project about learning management. And currently now, we have a team of we also have a team of professionals that are coming together to see how we can help a lot of people to also migrate, give them training and mentorship, which is one aspect that I've discussed with Shola to see how, if anybody have interest, so we are coming together in this next year to be more concise about supporting people to really migrate. So we are coming together to start a form of training and mentorship program for people that are interested in migrating to the IT world through the business analysis feed, through product management feed, and through Scrum Master. So we just believe that as everybody is making plans to really migrate into IT, we want to be part of that transformation journey, and we want to support everyone. So, if anybody have any question on how to register for this program, so they can reach out to me directly or send a message through Shola. So that way, I don't know if anybody have any question about business analysis, product management, and Scrum Master as we look into the opportunities in the 2023. And you can just check Google. You can see these rules they are one of the highest paying, and it has a lot of future in it. In terms of you can be in Nigeria. I've mentored somebody in Nigeria that she just moved from maybe 100,000 salary to 400,000 salary, and Nigeria is so all across. You really have opportunity to maximize your potentials. So, so thank you very much. I don't know if anybody have any question.
Thank you a lot. Thank you very much, Peter. Okay, I think I have someone. Dan Favor, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, boss. Thanks for sharing. So how do I join the opportunity, sir, like you said?
Okay. I think you can send him a DM right now. Just DM him on the Zoom platform. I'm sure he's going to share his contact with you. But you can also, I think he's
your name again, sir.
Him on LinkedIn, Olamiriki Peter.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah. But something I also want everyone of us to understand is that being a business analyst, you can actually self-develop yourself by watching YouTube videos and a whole lot of other content online that you can watch to be a business analyst. Just to break it down, Peter was talking about stakeholders. When you talk about stakeholders are people that you just relate with to, in our world, we call it elicit requirements, which is you are only gathering requirements. And a typical example that I gave the other time is that, so let's say you go to a restaurant and you want to eat, someone needs to take your order. So the person that comes to take your order, I want you to see the person like a business analyst. So you are giving the person the order that, okay, I want jollof rice, I want it with plantain, I need it with fish, I need it with lamb meat or something. The person takes that order and takes it to the chef who is going to prepare the meal. So that's what a business analyst is basically doing. And the reason why, the question that can be raised is, why do we have as a career? The truth is that when you look at the world in terms of business world and how development is going, most of the solutions you see out there, they are software solutions that are solving real life problems. They are all software. We call them SDLC, software development life cycle, and they'll have different phases of the project. And that's why you have a lot of developers out there developers, their role is evergreen. They always need develop. Companies always need developers that can help program software, produce amazing softwares, whether good or bad softwares anyways. So what a business analyst does is to elicit. You gather all those requirements from users. People, maybe they need a solution that can solve transportation problem. What you are doing is, okay, this is what you want. Okay, what are your pain points with this software? And what you would do is that using tools, the business analysis tools that you can use to explain it to developers that this is what these guys want, and this is how we should build it. I would like to bring up someone who is a product manager. Sometimes I could mix them up, project manager, product manager, and all those different career. They all work together as a team. We have Scrum team. So when you talk about a Scrum team, it's just a team that they are working together to develop a software. So part of a Scrum team, we have business analysts in a Scrum team. We have Scrum masters. We have product owners, and some of them are also you can also call them product managers. I have Samuel and Flair, Olawale Flair. Flair is the product manager for Polaris Bank. Samuel is also product manager for a big fintech company. I would like them to share one or two things about their career. We're still going to be talking about business analysis, talking about how you can get started, platforms that you can, if you want to do self-develop, I will share a few platforms. If you also want to be part of a training institute, Peter has talked about it. You can also be part of that for mentorship and all that. I don't know if Flair, I know Flair was traveled today. He's traveling to Lagos on train. If you would like to speak now, or Samuel Adedeji, do you mind sharing? And then maybe Flair can join after you're done with your thoughts.
think Flair can go now. Flair start now.
Okay.
Flair needs to talk before I talk, right? I guess.
Okay. If you say so, Flair, are you there?
Hi, good morning.
Morning. Good to have you, Wally.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to connect with everybody. Sorry, I cannot open up my video because I'm actually on a trip. Yeah, so basically, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts around, and thank you for creating this platform to share what's new, the opportunities that are available, and all of that. So basically, as a product manager, closely working with developers to build products, basically. So, so what does my daily activity looks like? I wanted to talk about it this way so that it's relatable. So, what does my daily activity look like? A product is meant to provide a solution to the people, right? And so, before you provide a solution, logically there needs to be a problem, right? And so, what's the problem you are trying to solve, so that the solution you are giving them has enough value, and then it helps them to either do whatever they need to do faster, easier, or cheaper, right? So as a product manager, I find out what problems exist in the industry I work in, and then have stakeholders meetings, or based on my research, develop solutions to solve those problems. And so turn those problems into actionable items for the development team. That means I work with designers and developers closely, and then Scrum Masters who are able to follow up on those tasks and ensure that they are delivered timely. So basically, so in summary, what I do is build products. So currently I work as a product manager at Polaris Bank. I currently manage VOT. VOT is Polaris Bank's digital banking app. And I need a team of about 13 designers, developers, Scrum Masters who work on VOT. So product manager as a career, basically, I think is an interesting place to be, and it's just like the former speaker when I was talking about business analysis. I think it's one of the very few areas in tech that is solely based on your soft skills. You don't need to code, except you're a technical product manager. Even when you're a technical product manager, I don't think you code every day. You actually don't need to. You just need to understand more. Probably you're solely working on APIs or core engineering products. But basically, as a general product manager or a digital product manager, you don't code. The most important things for you are communications. You're able to talk to the user and find out what their problems are. So research, and then you're able to take that research and then develop solutions and then communicate whatever you want to build or the solution you're trying to deliver to your team. And so basically, the most important thing for me is communication, like I said, and then research and knowledge about your industry. Those are the three core things for me. There are a lot of things that are useful for you to become the best product manager in town, but those top three for me would be communication, research skills, and then industry knowledge. I mean, if you're working in fintech, you want to understand what is happening in fintech, you want to understand CBN policies for that industry. You have to have knowledge about that industry. So if you're working in logistics, so before I transition into finance, I used to work as product manager as a logistic company. So I need to understand what size of vehicle ply which road. So in Lagos, some particular type of vehicle does not ply a particular road and all of that. So you need to understand those things. And if you work in e-commerce, you also need to understand the dynamics of the industry. So industry knowledge is very, very important. And if you're lucky enough to work with business analysts, they are a very useful part of the whole thing. They look at data, they look at the problems, they look at where the business needs to be, and then help you ensure that whatever solutions you're building align with the vision of the product. I mean, because we have product vision and then there's a company vision. For example, I work at Polaris Bank and I work with VOT. So VOT needs to be somewhere. But Polaris Bank as a company also have its own vision, like this is where it needs to be. And VOT's vision that I manage as a product, because another person manages USSD for Polaris Bank, another person manages different products, right? So Vault vision needs to be able to align with the general goal and where Polaris Bank as an organization wants to be. So basically, like I said, it's all soft skill, easy to transition into. Might be difficult getting in because I realize that product management do not really have entry-level roles as much. There are lots of product manager roles that are free and open for people to get into. But take note that entry levels are usually not that common. And so you have to exhibit the skills in another role or alternative role or volunteer roles. You need to be able to be product. People need to see that you have those skills needed, because usually entry roles are not common, except I'm going to deceive you. I mean, it's the truth. But if you get a foot in the door, trust me, you can get your foot in the door in 6 months. And when you're indoor, you can move across industry. In the space of 2 years, I've been able to work with about 6 companies. And now I'm at Polaris Bank. It's been an exciting journey.
So Wale, I have a question. Okay. How did you start?
Oh, okay. So exciting. Thank you for asking that question. So I used to sell boxers. I used to own a company that produced boxers. Sold the company sometimes ago. And so the way I see it is, when I was an entrepreneur, what I do every day is manage a team to build a product that is valuable and then sell to the market. That's the way I see it. And so when I discovered product management, I saw product management for the first time in my entire life during COVID. So during COVID, my factory was locked where I do my business, and all of my staff did not come to the office. And then I was bored, got online, started learning a couple of stuff, did a course at IBM on enterprise design thinking. And so what are the enterprise design thinking on itself is not a role, it's a skill. And so researching what enterprise design thinking can help me with, and then discover that there's a role called product management. Reading about it, I'm like, oh, this is what I do every day at work. The only difference is product management is in tech, and this is what I do as an entrepreneur every day. And it becomes exciting for me. And I used to be a tech person before entrepreneurship, and so it's exciting to just try it out. And as I got deeper into learning on my own, so I learned on my own, YouTube, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, and all of that. As I continue learning, I spoke to a couple of people to let me try my skills with them for free or for peanuts or for any amount, just even for free, just try my hands on products. And I started seeing results of stuff I could do. And those results are the stories you tell at interviews, right? So, like I said, the entry level roles are not common. And so you need to have, when you have those stories to tell, oh, I built this product, this person gave me an opportunity to contribute to this product, I built it, had this result, and all of that. So when I learned on my own, I worked on a couple of products, I worked with experts, and we worked on PowerPlug together. PowerPlug was the breakthrough. The product really just went from 0 to up there, right? And so I was able to then move from PowerPlug to Get Tailored. Get Tailored was like my first, how do I put it, outside my comfort zone. Get Tailored was like the first big organization I was going to work for. So it was a global African team e-commerce platform, and we were delivering all around the world. So I was managing the supply app, the vendors app, which also took off as soon as I joined, had about X100 growth. And that story was what I was also able to tell when I went to logistics. So I was moving around the industry. I also leveraged my background of fashion to join Get Tailored, because Get Tailored was an e-commerce fashion platform, like I said. So I had experience in fashion. I also had experience in growth. I could build companies, and they were a startup. They needed somebody who could contribute to so much growth. So I joined, and I was able to manage their developers. It was a 100% remote team. Engineers were in India. The operation teams were in Spain, the CEO was in another country like that. So it was really distributed thing. And so from there, I moved to truck.
Yeah.
And then on the side, I consulted for a couple of fintech platforms, which was what helped me also to get into finance really. I really wanted to go into finance. Like this is the next thing for me to learn. Because I needed that industry and I was able to switch to Polaris Bank. And as soon as I got into the industry, I thought that there are lots of roles. There are lots of, even in Nigeria, there are lots of permanent roles that are just good stepping stones for you to get to where you want to be. I mean, it will just keep growing one day at a time.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Wale. I'm just sharing my screen. I'm trying to show you, if you can see my screen, opportunities, product management opportunities. These roles are in Nigeria. See, product manager, product owner, EMEA, that's remote. Huge is also a company in Lagos. Flutterwave, product manager, enterprise merchants. So when you're talking about products, I think maybe Samuel can also help us to break this down. Thank you, Wale, for sharing. Wale, are you still talking? Okay. If you keep looking at it, okay, canonical, Ubuntu core. So when you talk about products, Samuel would like to, maybe you help us break that down. People need to understand when you talk about the product. I've seen a couple of guys, a lot of guys have reached out to me and say, I have this great idea. I want to develop a software that can help to manage, maybe I have a lot of books on my library shelf and I would like to sell the books. And so I want to develop a solution that can connect people that need this kind of book. They can borrow it from me and then they can pay. When they are done with the book, the solution can still manage it. That's what is called a product. And what a product manager does is to help you flesh out that idea and make it a product. So if you are going to build that, it requires the product manager to work with business analysts, developers, and tell them that it needs to break down that idea to them to develop that solution. Let me yield to Samuel. Maybe you could also help break down because that's what it does on a day-to-day too. Samuel, do you mind sharing what it means to be a manager and what does that product actually means? Because I want us to really explain it to people to understand in a layman's understanding and see how they can also, because the truth is that a lot of us, we are actually business analysts, we are product managers, we are product owners, scrum masters. We do these things on a day-to-day, but you don't just understand that this is the name it is called, and these are the tools you can use to work in that as a career. So I'll yield to Samuel. Thank you.
So, all right. Thank you very much, Shukan. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. So I would say, and Wale had talked extensively on some things, and I would just want to add up some things to what Wale said. So a product is, I would say, anything that provides benefits to the market. Anything that provides benefits to the market. I call that a product. And I want to make it known that a product can either be physical or virtual or digital. So anything is a product, as long as it has benefits. Your television set is a product, and also your messaging app is also a product. So any way you say it, it's a product. So what Wale was saying, that specific skills you should know. I'll call them art skills. Let me put it that way. Let me put on my video. Let me see. I call them art skills, and it's basically like most people understand business basics, right? So if you understand business basics, if you understand how to do research, if you understand how to do analytics, a little bit of technical communication, stakeholder management, negotiation, and teamwork, it will definitely help you around this. So these are the basic skills you should basically understand to have: business, research, analytics, a little bit of technical, because somehow when you're dealing with a developer, he will tell you some things. And if you don't know those things, he will, okay, so for instance, if the ETA for a product should be, to do that part of the product is for 4 days, and he's telling you it's going to take you 9 days. And if you start saying some technical jargon and you don't understand, he will just sell you off. So you need to understand some of these basic things to understand, okay, why is it, okay. So when I came into product management, I don't know what Postman is. So I want to test an endpoint. You tell me the endpoint is not working. And the front-end developer will tell me he has not provided the endpoint. And you tell me he has provided an endpoint for the front-end. I said, okay, let me go and name this Postman. So jokingly, we were on the call, and he said, the front-end, the endpoint is ready. I said, okay, please give me the end test of Postman. And it was short because I had to, okay, since let me test it. So I got it and I repeated everything. I did the post and I saw it and I said, so when did you start with them? I said, you really never to use Postman because what's supposed to be for 3 days, you take 7 days, and it's affecting your timeline. So most times we still have to move around gradually to understand that no knowledge is wasted. Like what first said earlier, you need to understand the policy around where you're working. So I work for a Nigerian fintech. The policy is different from the South African fintech I'm working with. Their own policy is so different. Their own business theory is different. Their own the way they consume their endpoints is different. The business over there is different. The business over there is expensive than it makes in Nigeria. Some endpoints we just provide it so easy and there's no charge alongside it in Nigeria. It's charged to South Africa. So you need to understand those points and you need to know that every business is different. The stakeholders need to understand how to talk to people. So if you know how to talk to people, if you know how to tolerate people, if you know when to make them lead to your timeline, then you be a good product manager. So product management to me did not come as I want to be a product manager. So I didn't come in to become a product manager. So and I've always been switching, transitioning around tech, the on-time social media, digital community, product growth, now product management. And the other thing is to feel part of product now because I'm president of the product where I now have like 3 product managers and I don't even have the product management guy, people of ownership of the product. So it just keeps scaling and it keeps moving. So at some point you just like, I think something that you're doing at that moment. Then you realize, oh, I'm no longer in that field I am, I'm already switching. But you just have to, okay, let me still stay and realize how that part of tech is. So tech is sweet, no entry level. Basically, even as a developer, too, there are some senior developers that don't have jobs any longer. So the roles open are being taken by everybody. So if you check those LinkedIn posts very well, you will see how many people have applied. You see 200, 300 people have applied on that. And now they won't just pick random people.
Yeah, sorry, Samuel. The session is an interactive. I mean, the event is an interactive one. So, excuse me. I would like people, if you have questions, please drop it on the chat or raise up your hand. I will mute you to speak. But you mentioned something the other time about you're a product manager and you also have 2 or 3 product managers working with you. Can you explain to people what that means? If you're saying you're the product manager, how come you have 2 or 3 product managers still working within the same company? Yeah.
All right. So the product is so big that I can't manage the whole product, right? So there is the mobile app part, there is the client area part, there's the checkout part, right? And there is the admin part. So if I say I'm to manage everything, probably the product would have to finish in the next 1 year. But on a norm, the company has a timeline for that product when the product needs to be delivered. So the best way is, okay, I understand how the whole product works, how the mobile works, how the checkout works, how the admin works, how the client area works. Now, I cannot manage everything, but even though I understand everything, so we have to bring in associates, so product manager associates, they'll come in on board. I'll explain the parts they are working on. Okay, this part from the login to creating service is your field. This is what you should manage. Manage this part of this product. So what I need to do is, whenever you feel there needs to be a change in this part of the product, I need to know about it. So I need to constantly see your documentation. You need to always come back to me for an advice on how, okay, I feel what we have on our document says we should do this, but based on research, this would help. Then we discuss about it. And okay, yes, okay, it's nice. All right, let's implement that. No, we can't implement this based on research. This is what we got before that document was being before we created that document. So what they now do is they no longer manage. So you're at a point you're managing bits of product. So you have product managers and they have their own team on those bits of product. They will now merge the whole product together and become one. So that way the product will not kill the product manager because it now has other people who manage other parts of those products. So I just explained that part.
Yeah, thank you very much. Exactly, because I want us to, when we mention all these career opportunities, we'll also let you see there are loads of opportunities out there for all these career opportunities. So if you are a product manager, you can have 4 different product managers working within the company. There is a company called, I'll put it here now, Capgemini. You can check them out. Also, maybe I'll share my screen later to just show you the company. What the company does is that they keep recruiting business analysts, project managers, product managers, scrum masters to the company. And what they do is that they source out for software development projects out of, as a company now. If you have an idea as another sub company or maybe a big company or organization, they will propose to you that they can help you manage your software. They can help you manage all the development of your software. They have all the team, they have all the product managers, they have all the BAs, they have all the all the development team. And what they are doing is that they will just help you manage all your software. And currently, Capgemini have over 300,000 product managers, product BAs. Just name all these careers. And there are companies like that are constantly recruiting. They are looking out for people. Let me tell you, all these things we are talking about, don't say because I live in Lagos or because I'm in Nigeria, I'm not going to get the opportunity, or maybe I live in Africa, I'm in Kenya. It is not restricted to you must be in the US before you can be given these jobs. Once you are competent and you can prove to them, and that's why you need to have what we call a CV story. Anybody can get started as a product manager. Wale was talking the other time that the entry is a bit tight, and the reason is because you can be a senior product manager within 3 months of learning. And how do you think you can stand out? Someone like me now, I can be a senior product manager within 3 months of getting into the industry. Reason means that I've been doing stuff related to that for many years. And so if I just decide to go into that career, I will just use my past experience of dealing with different products, managing projects, managing people. I'll just use that experience and then start using all these product management tools to get on with the job or with the role. So you guys need to understand that don't be restricted by or thinking within the box of it's just a small thing. It's a big thing that it does not require you to learn coding, but you can understand how the developers code. And let me break it down a bit to talking from the perspective of a business analyst. I work with product managers, and also we call them product owners too. What the product manager is doing is that the product manager understand that this is the product we are building. Let's bring it down a bit. Let's look at the bank now. Bank have different products. We have the mobile application. Mobile application is a product on its own because it's servicing maybe over 1 million users. So it's a product on its own. That's why sometimes you transfer money from your app, it messes up. You have developers that are managing, maintaining the mobile app. So it's a product on its own. You also have their human resource, where they manage all their staff and all that. There is a solution that they use in managing all of those things. They also have product on asset management. Maybe bank have maybe over 100 branches. They need to manage all of those things using solutions, which has to do with how users come in. So they're all different product work stream or project work stream, we call them. So let's look at the mobile app now, for instance. you are building the mobile app, you have to constantly update it, which means that you need to work with programmers, you need to work with developers that help to develop features that you add to a product. And there's something we call MVP, most minimum valuable product, if I'm correct, MVP. So that's the first product that you develop. So when you develop that, it becomes that's the first software that people work with. I can see Emmanuel here. Emmanuel worked for Vesti remotely. Vesti is one of the companies that was founded by Olusola Muson, and they deal with international payments. You want to pay dollars to the US from Nigeria, they do all of those conversions. Emmanuel is also going to chime into this conversation later to share a few things about products, because they also have different product work stream. The reason why I'm saying is that I want us to understand that when you are working as a product manager, there are many products that you can work on. So you don't think that your role you might be indispensable in the next couple of months. No, these projects, once you develop the MVP, you need to keep adding more features to that software. And that's why I look at WhatsApp now. Yeah, WhatsApp is a very good example. WhatsApp is a product. But if you remember, some couple of years ago, you have maybe 128 members of a group. The maximum number, the cap in terms of joining a group is maybe 128. Now you have over 500 participants that can be part of a group. That is a feature. Before, you couldn't do video call on WhatsApp. Now you can have a group video call on WhatsApp. Those are what? There are features that are constantly added to a product. So the WhatsApp initially was the MVP, and then over time, more features was being added. But how do you get that done? And it's part of where the role of a business analyst come into play now. As a business analyst, we already have WhatsApp. So I'm using WhatsApp as a typical example of a product now. You already have WhatsApp working. So what you also need to do is that you need to gather requirements from users to improve the product. So people have been complaining that I want to be able to make video call on WhatsApp. So what I will do as a business analyst is that I will go and speak to the product manager and say, this is a requirement from the user that they would like to have video feature on this application. They will look at it that, is it valuable? Is this something that if we put out there, if you add this as a feature, is it going to bring value to the product? They will analyze all of those things using different tools, speaking to more stakeholders. So when we are talking about stakeholders now, people that use the product, you can call them stakeholder. The CEO of the company or the product or the product manager, they're also stakeholders. So when we talk about stakeholders, stakeholder could be anybody. What we're talking about is that when you gather requirements from stakeholders, you are looking at how can you improve a product or improve a software. So as a business analyst, that's what we do. We speak to all the stakeholders, and that's why as a business analyst, you need to have very good communication skill and people management, because some questions that have been raised as a business analyst, interview questions, that how do you manage difficult stakeholders? Difficult stakeholder could be anybody, someone trying to connect to, and then making it difficult to connect with them. You can't easily ask them questions. They will not answer you. So you need to be able to manage people as a business analyst. And when you elicit this requirement, when you collect this requirement from them, you need to be able to write it in a language that the developers that wants to build it, we understand it. All right. Let me not speak too much. I think we have someone that wants to ask a question. If you want to ask a question,
let me add to what you just said earlier.
Yeah.
And so the essence is a lot of people mix up product and projects, right? So as a product manager, it's different from you're not a product manager and a project manager. Is two different roles. And most times, if someone asks me what is the difference, I say closure. Closure is the difference between both of them. So as a project manager, there's always like a closure. There's a time your project stops. You just, okay, the end of the project is this, and that's the end of the project. But as a product manager, your product does not end, because there's always an improvement on that product. So basically, I'll say product management is every aspect of a product lifecycle, from ideation to development, to testing, to deployment, to post-deployment, to feedbacks, and improvement. So constantly you keep adding something to that product. You keep seeing something that needs to be added, something that, okay, and there's a part which is forget, there's something that needs to be removed also from the project. So that sometimes, okay, well, okay, it's not only necessarily about adding. WhatsApp have also removed some features of their products because they feel it's not being used or it's being, so there's addition, there's subtraction on the product, and that's all what you still have to continuously do. So as a product manager, there's something doing, there's something you must do, there's something that needs to be added, there's something that needs to be removed, there's something that needs to be improved. There's retention, it's a part of retention. How do you want to hold that customer? Okay, which feature are we going to use to hold that customer? Those are questions that need to be answered steadily. So there's no fear that you'll be out of job. Instead, probably you're just tired or you're bored and you want to switch jobs. That's just it, different. Yeah. So
I think I have Ayomide is there. Ayomide Akintade. She just started as a project manager. I would like her to come share her experience, what it was like, how she started, how she got into that career field. Do you, Ayomide, are you there? Do you mind sharing how you got started and then how it has been like within the last, that's 2 months now. So go ahead, Ayo.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shola. You keep making me happy every time you have conversation. And yes, you are doing well, so I'm proud of you. So I live in a physical space. I would have asked everybody to help me give Samuel Adedeji standing ovation because that guy na guy. Yeah, and one little, you guys are amazing. So yeah, I'm a product manager, not project. I actually did a course in project management. So I've handled projects in the waterfall aspect. So trying to switch to the agile way was quite competitive. I submitted my resume and they're like, oh, you don't have the portfolio we need and all of that. So that's why you need the right people in your circle. So speaking with people like Adedeji, Samuel, Ayoti, TV is not here. So the advice I break it that so far you can handle product in the tech space. One day you'll be trusted with projects of that product, right? Just like what Samuel has said, project has an end, a deadline, like an end date. Why product is iterative? You keep doing something, right? So I was advised, so I started to take courses on product management, yes, which was quite fun. So like what you said, Mr. Sholada, there are things we do that we don't know we are doing it because we don't have a name to it. Yes, right. That is very true. There are things you do jokingly or you do because that is what you enjoy doing, but there are names for it. So I would just encourage us to learn to speak to people about our strengths. So they can help us with branding, giving it a name that is acceptable globally. Then you just have to keep learning a skill like a tech skill or a global skill to push up that skill that you have so that you don't just be a local person. Then yes, after my product management course, I started to apply again on LinkedIn to so many organizations. I got so many rejection mails. So at the point I was so sad.
Sorry, do you mind sharing the platform that you used to learn?
Okay, I use entry level. Yeah, I use entry level. So
that's the website.
Yeah, the learning platform is a website too, entry level.
Okay, entry level. Okay.
Yes, and thanks to Samuel Adedeji rather for introducing me to that platform. I just start on entry level.
So guys, you can send Samuel Adedeji DM right now so that you can also use platforms for you to learn. However, I'm also a big fan of YouTube. When you go to YouTube, you will find most of these Indian guys. They will have a video relating to product management, Scrum Master, name it, even programming. They will have it. Yeah, go on, Ewai. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sam. So after, like I said, I tried applying to so many organizations on LinkedIn. So to be what's it called, an intern in their firm, no portfolio, but something entry level helped us build portfolio, right? You work on the project. But they're like, oh, it's not looking real and all of that. So one day I just got vexed that what is this? Why? Like, how am I getting a no? So I started to go into the DM of those recruiters, telling them that, okay, I don't want an internship. I want to volunteer. So I sent that to like 5 of them. 3 reached out to me like almost immediately. Oh, okay, we'll take you for volunteering, you learn on the job, things like that. So I could not take the 3 at once because I needed to build something substantial and sustainable, just like my bosses here. So I had to take one. So I currently work as a product manager with Dino, and it has been fun, very stressful. I think I was speaking with Mr. Shola some days ago that my backend guys are saying I'm their problem because I give them deadlines. I have deadlines. So let's both transfer the aggression, the pressure on the job. So recently my boss was saying something that, he sees that I love what I'm doing and I'm enjoying it. I was like, yes. He said, okay, what is my major problem? I said, I feel I'm learning on the job. He said, oh, really? That I have even forgotten that I am still learning. So my usual stipend, it was like, okay, we double the stipend because I'm doing beyond what a learner should do, all because of the right people in my circle. So Samuel Ayodiji, thank you very much for that period I spent with you. So that is my own starting point. Going into DMs of recruiters to say, oh, I don't want internship. Don't come and think, oh, I don't have that experience, so you can't pay me that amount. Let me learn first. Give me the platform to learn. And yes, I got the platform, and this is my second year in the space, and I'm enjoying it. I've actually stopped a lot of meetings because of now I have a meeting by 12 and I'm enjoying the whole product space. Believe me, learning is just the starting point. Don't go with that high expectation, but let's build portfolio first so that anywhere we get to, we can become acceptable. Thank you, Mr. Shola. I hope my little point helped.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Please, guys, if you have questions, raise up your hand. Samuel, yeah, go ahead. Or you drop a chat.
AY is a good mentee, and AY can disturb your life. And it's not necessarily because she's on the call. AY's growth is phenomenal. I most time when I just see, I say, oh. If I see AY's call sometimes I'm scared of picking because I know she's going to ask me one question. Probably I've never encountered that problem in my own field, but I just feel okay, let me give her an answer, right? So there's no harm in trying, and she's definitely she's trying to prove that the entry level is also easy, but she started the job and she was not being paid, and gradually she hopefully put that into her own resume, and
right.
That's how to enter. I just answered the question how to enter into the field. So that's the way she entered, and gradually she's moving. So you're good to go.
Thank you for the comment, Yewande Falajiki. She's inspired. So the truth is that if you have been working with a company, just look at product management, business analysis, and how can you relate it with what you've been doing, and then that's how it works. Let me share another career opportunity that people need to look out for. Scrum Master. What does it mean to be a Scrum Master? I'm sure, I don't know, Flair and Samuel or AY, if you guys, I would like to invite Emmanuel to speak about Scrum. Yeah, he's not a Scrum Master, but he works with a Scrum Master. I'm a certified Scrum Master, and I know what the role of a Scrum Master is. But I want Emmanuel to speak before I talk about Scrum Mastering. Part of the role of a business analyst, which I think someone was talking about, it was Flair that was talking about regulation. As a business analyst, you also have to understand, you also have to help the team understand the regulations around the product you are building. If you go and build a product that there's a regulation that binds it from a feature that needs to be put on that solution, you have built it, but regulation says, no, you are not allowed. It can kill your business. So part of the role of a business analyst is you also have to make research about the regulations governing that solution that you are building before it is built into the system. So Emmanuel is a developer. He works with Vesti. Let me bring him up stage to speak, Emmanuel Ladayo. And I want him to share with us how he got started into that field and what his role is. He's a developer, and okay, let me just have him talk. I don't want to talk on his behalf. They have different project work stream they're managing. I'd like him to share how he got started and how his day-to-day activity has been, and how do you think people can get started in their career? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm already afternoon. Yeah, already in the afternoon.
Yeah,
good afternoon. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Shola. So, like I said, I'm a mobile developer, cross-platform mobile developer, to be precise. That is to say, I use a particular framework that bridge the that allows me to develop mobile apps that works across different OSs. And I'm talking about OS now. I mean, like iPhone users use iOS, and Android users use Android phone users use Android OS and the likes. So concerning my role, I'm a software engineer at Vesti, and basically I help with implementing features into the mobile application, and also developing new applications as the requirements, right? Like as the requirements as it is required. Let me put it that way. So I work with Scrum Masters, and our Scrum Masters, what they do basically is they work with every engineer, or the engineers are also stakeholders in the particular products. You know, we've been talking about products and stakeholders. So they work with engineers to determine, okay, what chunk of tasks can be done in a particular sprint. Okay, this is what we want to achieve. How can we break this down into tasks and milestones that can be achieved per time? So the Scrum Master basically assign tasks and also handle the Scrum board. We have different kind of Scrum board. The product managers here can relate, like Kanban and others, the agile way of product management. So the Scrum Masters are the ones that help us to outline the tasks we need to do, and also check on us if we are still on track with the tasks. So that's basically my own idea of Scrum Masters. Okay. So I said the Scrum Masters will tell us, according to the current sprints, or whatever sprints are like, should I call them milestones now, or a particular area that should be worked on in a particular period of time. So a sprint could be a 2-week period where so thing must be achieved in the product.
Just a short time of short period that you can use to complete the project or your work.
Yeah, that we can use to complete an aspect of a product.
Right.
Yes. So the Scrum Masters are the ones that determine the kind of tasks we do at that period. They relate with the engineers and then come up with milestones, feasible periods to complete the particular task, and things like that. So that's the kind of experience I have with Scrum Masters.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Manuel. Let me share a few things regarding a Scrum Master. It's also a career that I think people should look out for. Emmanuel mentioned sprint. Sprint is just a time box event that you use in what they call the SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. And we have different methodologies that you use in building a software or building a product. So you can have a 1-month sprint. A 1-month sprint means that there's something we call backlog. Product managers and business analysts and a couple of Scrum Masters who understand. When you talk about a backlog, is that you itemize the things that you want to do on a sprint. So within that 2 weeks, there's something they call 3 amigos. 3 amigos is some of the senior guys within the team. They will come together and look at all the work item of what they need to do and how they can break those work items down to give it to different developers on the team to work on it. Remember, I was sharing the scenario of WhatsApp. So let's say that within the first sprint, they decided that, okay, this sprint that is coming, or the next sprint, or we want to add video functionality to WhatsApp so that a group of 10 people can make phone call. They can make video call on WhatsApp. So what they do is that the three amigos come together. It could be product manager, it could be one of the senior BAs, and it could be one of these. Part of them is three amigos are usually maybe 3 people meeting or maybe 4. So they come together, they talk about the workload and how they can break it down to the developers, the programmers that is going to work on it. So one of the major role of, that's the major role of a Scrum Master, and that's also a career. What you are doing is that we call that for the sprint, we call it Agile. So it's a methodology in developing software. They call it Agile methodology, which is time box, maybe 2 weeks or 1 month. So let's look at 2-week sprint. So what the Scrum Master does is that is like a servant within the team. And what the person is going to be doing is that the person is the one that organizing what we call daily stand-up. So daily stand-up is a 15-minute time box event every day. And the Scrum Master is the person that manages that event. So every day within that 2-week sprint of the software you are developing, or maybe a feature that you are developing, what you are doing is that, Peter is going to join in. He's going to chime into this. He has raised his hand. What you are doing is that as a Scrum Master, you are the one managing the 15 minutes meeting every day. BAs are meant to be part of the meetings to talk about. So what are the 3 things you are discussing in that 15 minutes meeting? You are talking about, you are going to be asking, you are the one managing the meeting. So you are like MC of the meeting. What you are doing is that you are going to be asking developers, okay, what did you do yesterday? Do you have any blocker? And what are you going to be doing next for today? What is your next objective for the day? So as a Scrum Master, and I'm asking Emmanuel, okay, so what have you done yesterday? Emmanuel will tell us what he has done relating to his workload. If there is a blocker means that there's a problem. Maybe the software is using, the license got expired. The license needs to be renewed. The role of that Scrum Master is the Scrum Master is going to speak to maybe the CEO of the company or maybe the product manager and get the software license renewed for that developer to keep working. Or it could be a major bug that needs to be fixed. Maybe it's a problem on the software. The Scrum Master is the one that needs to connect with people and get that problem resolved. That's the role of a Scrum Master. Peter, please chime in. You would like to chime in on this?
Yes, I just like to set some form of background so that we can have the knowledge systematically delivered to the audience. Yeah. So when you look at project management and product development, and we look at the Scrum team, we look at them as a team. So the Scrum Master is like that coach. You see, in project management, which is the background of all of this software development that we do, so it has been metamorphosed, it has been developed into what we call Agile and Waterfall. So Agile is that method of product development management or project management that entails an iterative method of management. So now under Agile, we have like one of the major form of Agile methodology is Scrum. So under Scrum, Scrum is a team of equal power, equal responsibility, or different professionals. So, in a traditional project management, we have the project manager that is all powerful, manages the team, manages the resources, manages the communications. But in Scrum, we have the product manager. The product manager focuses on making sure that what they are doing focuses on work, while the Scrum Master focuses on ensuring they have an environment that enable them to deliver what they are meant to do. A product manager just talk to the team member about, you need to do this work, you need to do this work package. But a Scrum Master ensure that, the team has the right resources, have the right environment, and focus on intercommunication within the team. Right. Make sure that there's no conflict, they have enough resources, they have what they need to do the work that a product manager asks them to do. and that is a Scrum Master. You see a Scrum Master more like a coach. A Scrum Master does not enter the field to play, but a product owner is like the captain, is still in the field with them. A Scrum Master is a coach that ensures that they all abide by the rules and regulations of Scrum. That was why Shokene was saying to us about the sprint retrospective meeting, the sprint planning meeting. The Scrum Master coordinate all this meeting. It will be in the meeting. It will not talk. It will just coordinate them. Make sure that they attend the meeting. Make sure that they have a proper timing. Make sure that they do the meeting within the set frame. So when you look at, if you are someone that that have a strong attribute of team management, so a Scrum Master may be a very good role for you to take on in this coming year. And Scrum Master, again, they are very needed because the world is looking for a way where they're going to do less to manage team. And Scrum Master also have a strong interpersonal relationship management skills. While the product owner, the BA, the manages with external guys, Scrum Master are that one that make sure that there's no issue of conflict. So the product owner, product manager can focus on the product, and it will not really focus on the interrelationship among the team member, which is the work of a Scrum Master. Thank you. That's just the addition I want to add. And when you now look at the business analyst, because I want us to put all of them in perspective. So a business analyst will ensure that products that are meant to be developed give value, gather the product requirements. The product owner builds and delivers those products with the help of the team, while the Scrum Master manages that team relationship and working environment effectively. So that is how the three of them work together in a modern product management team, like Scrum.
Fantastic. Thank you a lot for fleshing that out. Thanks a lot, Peter, for fleshing that out. It's very important that we understand the thin line and understand their different roles, how they perform within the team. I'm just sharing my screen now to show you average salary of a Scrum Master. And when I'm talking about this, is on a global scale, is £57,000. I think £57,000 should be about $60,000 in US currency, in dollars. And look at some of the roles. The truth is that don't feel you are restricted to, maybe you're in Nigeria, you're in Kenya or Rwanda, wherever you're joining us from now. You can actually apply to all these roles. But if you follow some of Ayo, she just started, it's like an entry role. She was sending out messages to LinkedIn professionals to start with internship. So that could be an entry, that could be an entry point for you. A Scrum Master is also a career that we are constantly being looked out for. Look at the company I mentioned the other time, Capgemini. These guys are constantly recruiting £55,000 per year. See, IBM, Saint-Beury. So there are loads and loads of, let's look at the product manager. So that's another thing. Look at this role now. You have a project manager, Scrum Master. So sometimes some of this role could be intertwined. There are some organizations they could employ you as a business analyst Scrum Master. So you could actually manage. That is if the project work stream is not very big. So you can actually act in both capacities sometimes. So we could also have product managers also being a Scrum Master within the team, because there are some times that you might not have a Scrum Master within a team. So a product manager could easily stand in, pending when they get a Scrum Master to be part of that team. So, but the more the project is getting larger and larger, you have to, most of these companies make sure that they have the complete team. In terms of what Peter said the other time, when you have a Scrum team, there are a couple of all this career, they are the people that make up a Scrum team. So you have a business analyst, you have a Scrum Master, you have a product manager. So let me stop sharing my screen. I'll be sharing my screen more with some of these roles, but you can go online, just check Glassdoor.com. You will see all these roles. What Wale was saying the other time in terms of the entry point for product managers, The truth is that if you have maybe 5 years of experience working with in a company, or maybe you're a business owner, you can actually get into this field and leverage on your past experience and find a way to tweak your CV story or tweak your experience to fit into what a product manager or what a scrum master or what a business analyst does. If you have questions, please feel free to chime in. You can drop it on the chat, or you can raise up your hand and ask these questions. Let me see if we have. Okay. So there is another career opportunity that I want to talk about, and that is DevOps engineering or DevOps engineer. So when we are talking about all these career fields, I mean, we've talked about our product manager, we have talked about business analyst, we've talked about scrum master, right? So a product owner and also a product manager, their work is almost, I would say, is it the same thing now, or it's similar. Let me put it that way, it's similar. A product owner owns a product, just like a product manager too owns a product. Wale, I don't know in your role, or Samuel, if you manage backlog, are you the one that manage your backlog, or you just relate with your stakeholders and then relate that requirement? I mean, you elicit your requirement from users and other stakeholders, and then you hand that over to the development team. The reason why is I want to break it down. I want it in such a way that people that are already doing it, that's their own career. I want us to relate with other career. Some of them could be intertwined, but their roles are specific, they are different. Me as a product owner now, when I manage the backlog. So when we talk about our backlog, I'll be talking about a management tool, which is called Azure DevOps. We also have Jira. So I'll be talking about that, and also a career that you can also look into within that has to do with management of all this development team and all the solution. Flair, please chime into this conversation regarding to a product owner and a product manager. For a product owner, I know I'm managing all the backlogs and ensuring that we iterate all these items that needs to be done. Flair, go ahead. What are you there? Okay. Oh, okay. I need to make him a co-host. Yeah, I think.
Okay. So thank you. Yeah. So I think context, organizational context matters a lot. And so in my former place of work, I used to manage both the product backlog and the sprint backlog. So the sprint is, for those who are not aware, the sprint is like a specific timeline that you need to achieve a particular goal. In most companies, it's 2 weeks, and in some is 1 week, right? But most companies is 2 weeks. So so I manage both the product backlog and then the sprint backlog. But in where I work currently, the product manager only manages the product backlog. So the scrum master manages the sprint backlog. Since the product manager is following up, I create all of the tickets, the user stories, and all of that. But when we have sprint planning section and we have agreed that this is the goal we want to achieve within a particular time, within this particular sprint, the backlog of that sprint then goes to the scrum master, since he's the one who would call the engineer and say that, Maoga, have you finished this task? Have we moved it to QA? Has it been tested? And all of that, right? So the product backlog, which is like the ideas of stuff we want to add, or stuff we want to improvise in our product, or stuff we want to build, I define that, I set all of that, and I manage them, I prioritize and do all of that. But so context in every company differs. So it's because we have a scrum master right now where I work, which is a more larger organization. But in a smaller organization where you probably don't have a scrum master, you only have a product manager who does the work of both the product manager and the scrum master. So but in that kind of role, I manage both. So that's why it's important for everyone to take note of all of those tools. You never know the kind of organization you find yourself.
Right. Thanks a lot, Wally. Thanks a lot. So just to share a few other ones, two more. One of them is, because I think there's a question here, what are the tools or skill required to become a product manager? Samuel or Wally, do you mind sharing that quickly? What are the tools or skills? I know when it comes to all these skills, one of the critical skill is you need communication skill, and then people management skill. It's very important if you want to get into any of these roles. You might not need to be a techie person. Please, let's get that correctly. You don't need to be a tech person before you can get into all these roles. Peter was a farmer. He was into agriculture before he became a business analyst, and he's a senior business analyst now. That was his first entry as a senior business analyst. He worked with an American firm. So the skill that I know, you need communication skill. You also need people management skill. And then you need to be able to use tools like Microsoft Word just to write requirements. You need also Excel skill. When I talk about Excel skill, there are some times you need to look at data and use that to build a business case to your stakeholder. So what are the tools that I use as a business analyst?
So I can help around in the skills you should have.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. I use Microsoft. Yeah, go ahead.
So for skills, you should at least understand business basics. You don't need to have MBA or whatever. Just understand what pricing, revenue, profit and loss, and cash flow is. You need to understand that. Then when we talk about research, you just need to understand what does the user or the market needs. What is the competition doing? So like what I do recently is I have a lot of signups. I have to sign up into a lot of competitors' products just to see how they are doing. You need to be able to do that. You need to understand, okay, why is these people doing this? Like they have this feature. What is this feature doing? Don't just assume. Check them out. So you have to do user research, market research. You have to do competitors analysis and all that. You need to understand analytics too, just like what you said earlier. What are the numbers? What are the numbers saying about your product or users? You should be able to understand those. Those are skills you should know. Then few knowledge of technical. You should be able to understand some placements. So when your UI gives you a certain color or a certain place in the field in the UI design, you should tell it, why did you do this? Why is this color? You should be able to explain that. Not because yellow is fine. The yellow should connote something around what you guys are actually developing. When I started, I had that issue because I actually had color problem. I had to understand what the color dynamics is to understand why something. So you just constantly need to keep learning and all that. Communication, as a product manager, you are in constant communication with your stakeholders, constantly. Your users, or your engineering team, or your business vendors. Or just make sure you have to have clear written and verbal communication, very clear, because you might not be there tomorrow and someone needs to read that thing. Or you want to hand over a note to one of the stakeholders, you should understand what. So, and on that thing, as a product manager, you must be a very good listener, be able to listen very well, because the more you listen, you understand. So you have to understand that you need to be able to listen so well. You need to be a listener, then be a talker, but listening first before you become a talker. Then stakeholder management.
Yes.
Managing different people, their egos, their mannerism. When you talk to a developer sometimes feels, some developers, not all, feels if I'm not there, the product will not come to life. Yeah, truly, if it's not there, the product will not come to life. But you need to have to manage that ego in him so the product can come to life. So stakeholder management, I have negotiation also. You need to understand that the process of discussing and that the end goal is to have a better outcome. You should understand how to negotiate. So fixing a bug versus building a new feature. Those are negotiation, right? Is it web first or mobile? You need to understand that. So which one is the feature prioritization? You need to which one are we trading off? Which are we prioritizing and all that? Those are things we should come then. most times I talk about it a lot, teamwork, because you just need that teamwork. So those are basic ability to get different people to work together. So when, for instance, on a product where you have 4 parts and you now have 4 different stacks, you have React, you have Node, you have Python, and they all have to come together to give you one product. You just have to harmonize them and make them realize that you don't necessarily need to tell you I'm done. You should check on me and say, are you true with your part so I can implement it so the product can, because we are all working on a timeline and all that. So those are the skills you should have.
Let me chime into this. You remember what Wale said, that every organization is peculiar to what works for them.
Yes. Yeah.
The truth is that you are constantly learning on the job. That's the truth. So don't think that most of the technical things that someone is saying now, maybe you need to know them before you get on board. You can get a job and you're learning on the job. That's how it works. Sure. So if you are working with developers and you start using some terminologies, all you need to do is go to Google, go to YouTube, and learn what's the meaning of those terminologies and how you can effectively communicate with them. And so part of what we are learning, you are also learning, is that, let's look at a typical example. You need to build a web form on the website. What you need to communicate to developers to understand what needs to be built. So it means that, let's say you need to have a field name, which is called first name and last name. You must be able to communicate it to the developers that this field name, it should be a text field, not a number field. It should be mandatory. You should have a primary key. So that's what you are doing. So all you just need to do on the job is you are learning to understand how to communicate those requirements to developing teams that are working on it. Do you understand? Let's look at another one, a tester. This is a big one that I never knew that it's a lot of work to be a tester. Do you know what the tester is? You are just testing the softwares. That's what the tester is. These are amazing career opportunities that you all should look out for. I mean, just check them out. A tester is, you are testing all these solutions that are being built. I worked with a game company a couple of months ago, and what they develop is that the ones that develop all these PlayStation games, FIFA, and all those games. And I used to see the testers, all they are doing is that they are just playing the games. They are constantly playing the games, checking out for bugs within the game or where there are issues within the game. You might feel it's interesting. Yeah, some people actually have passion to test. All they are doing is just to test the software that it works fine. You see all these FIFA games we are playing, they actually have testers. They are the final set of people that the software goes to before it is pushed to life. They test it to make sure that there are no issues, there are no bugs with it before it is pushed. And then we also have what we call transformation managers or transformation officers. Is also a career that you can look into, transformation manager. What they do is that when the software is built and is developed and is about to be pushed to life, what the transformation manager does is the person that communicates all the features, the release notes to users and to stakeholders within a company. So going back to the role of a tester, you could be a software tester. And all you are doing is that when a software is built from the development team, it is pushed to an environment that is called beta. Beta is just a testing environment. Different organizations have their different environment anyways. There are some that have development environment, you have the beta environment, they have the pre-production environment, and then you have the production environment where the software is pushed to. Once the software is pushed to the production environment, that's where everybody have access to it, all the users. So a role of a tester is you are testing the software to make sure that it works effectively, it works the way it is meant to be, it is designed. So you have the requirement from the users that, okay, they want to be able to make video on WhatsApp. I'm going to be using WhatsApp as my scenario. So what the tester does is that the tester will test that software and make calls with a group of 10 people to make sure that their video is working. If 1 out of the 10 people join and the video is not working, it means that's a bug. That needs to be raised back to the development team. They need to fix that issue. Or you are meant to the requirement is for 10 users to be able to make voice call or video call. If 8 people is the max that can join that call, that's a bug. The tester will need to raise it to development team for them to fix it. Or while the person is testing, we have what we call positive and negative testing. Let's say, which has to, I think that has more to do with database-driven website where you need to log in. So when you talk about positive and negative testing, is that positive testing is that this field for username and password, they can say for password, it should be 8-letter character that field should allow. If me as a tester, I test it and I put 9, if it should allow 9, that's a bug. It needs to be raised. If I put in 8 and it allows it, that means that's positive test. That means it has actually passed. I'm sure Emmanuel will understand what I'm saying. Negative is that you try odds you just try odd scenario to test a software. And we also have there are people that are called beta testers. The truth is that people are paid heavily for all these career opportunities. Let me find it on Glassdoor, and I'll share my screen to see salary range of a tester, a software tester. All you are doing is that you're just testing the software to make sure it works. That's all you are doing. You are testing the software to make sure that the software works according to the requirement or what it's meant to do. Let me share my screen with this quickly. Please feel free to ask questions if you have questions. Sorry, well, then. Let's see if I can use this one. Tester. See, the average salary of a software tester. I didn't log in. The average salary of a software tester is £37,000. Sorry about this. I thought I logged in before. Okay, don't worry. If I get that, I'll share my screen back so that you can see it. Okay, fantastic. See, the average software salary of a software tester is £33,000. That's about $40,000 US. That's the average, the entry market. Samuel, please correct me. I want to believe that you guys have testers. Flair, Wale, Emmanuel.
Yeah, we have testers.
QA testers, quality assurance testers.
We call them QA testers.
Yes, QA testers.
So every organization have their different names. Some of them, they call them QAs. Some also call them testers. I think I've heard another one. I can't remember that name now. It sounded funny, but that's also a tester. Yeah, so we also have them as QAs, quality assurance. They make sure that the software meets the quality of what needs to be pushed to life. That's when you talk about pushing into life, that's the environment where people actually use it. So the WhatsApp I'm talking about now, WhatsApp have their beta platform where they test all these new features before they push it to life, where everybody is meant to use it. So you cannot afford to push a feature to life and it messes up the old software. So part of what a tester is going to be learning is you need to learn what they call regression testing. Regression testing is you are testing a new feature on a system, on an existing system. So when you develop it into an existing system, the regression is that you are checking it to make sure that the existing system has not been, the system has not been messed up with. I mean, what the system is doing initially, the MVP, when the new feature was added to it, it did not break anything. It's just like maybe you have a phone now, you took your phone to a technician, the phone, what you notice is that the microphone of your phone is no more working. After the phone has been fixed, if you go and check it, your screen, your loudspeaker, everything should be working. If after you've collected it from the technician, you now notice that your speaker is no more working, that means it has damaged the existing feature of the phone itself. So that's what we call regression testing. You just test to make sure that the existing system still works fine, or the existing feature still works fine. So that's the role of a tester. You can check him out online. What a tester is all about. All you're just doing is testing. And we have different tools that you can use to test. There are many softwares online that you can use for testing. We have Catalan, quite a lot of them. You can connect with me or any other person, or just go to YouTube and see what it means to be a tester. Understand the tools of tools that testers use. We have Selenium, quite a couple of them. And for entry, you can send email to CEOs or top developers in organizations on LinkedIn that you would like to intern as a tester. And you know, the amazing thing about internship, especially when it comes to all this career, is that within 3 months, you can be so good that they will want to be paying you heavily. Within 2-3 months, you can be so good at what you are doing, and they'll offer to pay you salary. So we also have what we call DevOps engineer. Remember when we're talking about some of the tools that you use as a business analyst, as a product owner, or as a product manager, we have a tool, a management tool that is called DevOps, Azure DevOps. We also have Jira. We have a couple of them like that. But Azure DevOps is very robust. And we also have Jira that is very robust. And what you'll be doing as a DevOps engineer is that you are helping to manage the effective usage of the management tool. Flair, Samuel, you guys, please, you can chime into this when it comes to management tool, whether you can also tell us the management tool that you use in your own organization. Remember, we'll be talking about product backlog. We have product backlog, and we also have the sprint backlog. Remember, we said the sprint is the amount of work that you need to get done within 2 weeks or 1 month. So the amount of work, which are the items, that's what we call the sprint backlog. So you have a sprint, and you have items that needs to be done. So part of what we also do is what we call definition of done. You should have a definition of done, which is what the testers will use to test what has been done. Flair, you would like to chime into this? Please feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, you were asking for management tools. So for us, where I work currently, we use Azure DevOps. And yeah, we use Azure DevOps. I'm just getting used to it. I mean, the first time I'm using Azure DevOps. Though in the past, I've used Jira, I've used Asana, I've used Notion. Notion is my most favorite tool, by the way. I like Notion so much. I really don't know, but Notion is just the best for me. But then we use Azure DevOps now. So all of these tools are not so much. Okay, so I've also used ClickUps. Myself and Samuel used to work in the same company before. So we use yeah, those tools are just the basic ones that are really popular. They are not so much different from each other. It's something you could really get used to and just get on board with it. Right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Thank you, Wale. So the Azure DevOps is like one of the management tools that a lot of big organizations use. And so when you talk about a DevOps engineer, what the DevOps engineer is doing is to help set up pipelines. So on that management tool, when you develop your software, you can actually automate your testing of that software on DevOps. So there's somewhere they call pipeline, is an extension on DevOps that a DevOps engineer can actually program, whether it's a website design, the DevOps engineer can program the solution on that pipeline within DevOps and automating in such a way that the more you're adding features, it will automatically test it on DevOps. So we have DevOps engineer. You can, in fact, DevOps engineer, the way they're looking out for them now is really amazing. Let me see the amount that DevOps engineers are paid. We have DevOps interns too. We have them. Let's see. The truth is that some of these roles, they pay more than each other. And I want to believe you can see my screen. Can you see? The average salary of a DevOps engineer is £50,000. That's about $60,000. And let's look at companies that are looking out for DevOps engineer: Accenture, KPMG, Sky, Capgemini, IBM, Sky Betting. I mean, loads, Barclays. So there are loads and loads of all these companies looking out for insurance companies. So when we talk about all these DevOps engineering, product manager, BAs, Scrum Masters, you are not restricted to an industry. It's not like maybe it's only insurance industry that needs these people, or whether it's only banks that need these people. No, it cuts across all industries: agriculture, aviation. I have a friend that is a business analyst to British Airways. So it cut across all these different fields. And I think it was Samuel Fled that was talking about. Every organization have their different forte. And even you as a person, if you want to be a product manager, you need to also understand the industry knowledge of where you're going to. Fintech, that's where Samuel Forte is at the moment, is the fintech industry. So if you want to work in the fintech industry, you need to understand the basics, the business, how do I put it now? Have basic understanding of the fintech industry, so that when you get into that kind of industry, you understand the basics of what they will be communicating. Because obviously in the fintech industry, there will be terminologies. They'll be talking about payment gateway. They'll be talking about tokenization. So you need to understand some of those things for you to thrive in the fintech industry, right? We also have insurance industry. Insurance, you need to start understanding what underwriting means. You need to start understanding what inflation means to the pricing. You need to start understanding excess. So all these industries have their different forte, and you need to understand so if you want to get into any of these industries, all you need to do is to understand what the business technologies and what, in terms of their deliverables within that industry, what it is all about. We also have we also have logistics company. Wally works in logistics company as a product manager before he also moved into the banking industry. So we have all these industries. There's a woman I know in the UK. She works with a mortuary company, and what they are doing is that they are developing software that when they have people so they register people on their website or their platform, and they manage whether it's cremation. Of all these industries that you can get into, you can learn within that industry. So it cuts across all industries. So all this career we're talking about is not restricted to any particular industry. It's across. As long as the software is being developed in that industry, you are needed. The last one I'd like to share is data analysis. Data analyst, if you know Excel, you know Tableau, you know Power BI, you are good to go with data analysis. All you are doing is to analyze data. And I'll give you a practical example, because I work with a data analyst within the industry that I'm presently working. And what they do is that I consult for an insurance company. And when the role of that data analyst, what he does is that all the transactions that they do per day, per week, per month, it will gather all that data, refine the data, and present it as a report to the business owners. So you'll be using Power BI, it uses Excel. So you have, let's say, part of the role of a data analyst is that you help to streamline data by showing business what they are doing in terms of, are you making profit? Are you running on loss? What's the number of onboarding of your customers? Let's say the industry or your product has to do with e-commerce. Maybe it's an e-commerce platform. What you are doing as a data analyst can help you analyze your data to look into how many customers do you have per month? What's the average per annum? What's the onboarding like? what is the figure in terms of your revenue. A data analyst will help you analyze your data. And the truth is that all they are doing is that they are just extracting the data from your from the platform or the solution that you have. They extract all the data and then format the data in such a way that they can present it to business to understand it in charts. It could be in charts, it could be in pie chart, it could just for them to understand that, okay, this is what my business is doing. Okay, these are the number of people that have been onboarded on our platform. That's what a data analyst does. If you have questions, please feel free to quickly ask the question. I think we should wrap up in the next 15 minutes. Yeah, I wish Femi Greater Height is here. Femi Greater Height is a design expert. He would have discussed a bit on user experience. What do we call them? Okay, Daniel is here. Daniel Ayekomi Logbon is here. Daniel, do you mind sharing a bit about user experience designer?
Good afternoon, everyone. So it's nice to be, and thank you for Mr. Shola for giving me the opportunity to speak about it. So in just few minutes, I'll be talking about UI UX design. It's another aspect of tech which people practically believe if you should tell them you are a designer, they believe you are not into tech. But it's what I've been trying to observe recently. But basically, the aspect is very versatile, where basically they work with developers. The UI UX designer work with developer. Mr. Emmanuel understand very well. So what they do basically is of two parts. The UI part is talking about the interface, be it a mobile app, be it a physical product. It's just the interface, the interaction of the interface, how user interact with the interface, the beautification and how it looks, the physical appearance. Why the UX part is the user experience, the experience user get after interacting with your product, probably be it a physical product or non-physical product like just a website, a mobile app. So it's just basically the experience they have. So the work of a UX designer is to make sure anything you are building has a good user experience. So since you are not building for yourself, since you are building for people, so you have to have the an empathy what they are going to feel when they are making use of your product. Just for instance, a user coming into a website and finding it difficult to differentiate between a primary button and a secondary button is the work of a user experience designer to make it very easy and very comfortable for user to be able to differentiate and to be able to, okay, this is a primary button, this is what is expected of me to do, this is what I shouldn't do, and just to make the whole session very very easy for the users. And we have different roles, and basically this particular aspect is a it encourages entry level, just like Mrs. Ayo said, that to get into a job you have to look out for the entry level and maybe internship. So basically what I've realized when it comes to UI UX design, people tends to go to the likes of Coursera, Udemy to get the skill. But basically what I get to understand lately is that you have to enroll for internship or probably entry level, because one thing I realize is that there is a difference between you just learning and you practicalizing what you learn. Because it happened to me of recent that I have to start looking, okay, when can I practicalize this skill. So basically, if anyone is getting into this field, it's good to take courses online because it's a good paying job. But before you can focus more on the paying aspect, you have to probably understand and have a portfolio to showcase to employees that okay, you are ready for the job. So basically you just have to take intern roles where you can get practical knowledge of what you are learning, and then be able to okay apply for jobs. Because if you are applying for a US job, they are not they do not need your resume. Probably the resume is important, but basically they do not need your resume, but they need your portfolio to show okay, this and this and this, I've been able to work with this particular set of people, I've been able to carry out this particular design, just your your case study of how you approach a problem. So it's a good one, and then which needs a lot of people to come inside it. People are actually afraid of going into coding and all. The aspect of UI UX does not require you to be a developer, though you are going to be working very close to a developer, but then just need to understand how you can work your ways around it. And most importantly, to be successful in this field, just have to have what is called an empathy, just to be able to okay, this particular pain point of a user, you are able to get the pain point, then you are able to solve issues as regards their pain point. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks for sharing. A question here that I could see on the chart is, what are the skills needed for data analysis and tools apart from the one mentioned? When it comes to skills that is needed for data analysis, I think you just need to understand how those tools work. Maybe critical thinking, in the sense that how you need to look at how you can best present a data to stakeholders. Imagine you have access to 1 million data of maybe customers that are buying a particular product. And what you need to do in analyzing that data is that you need to analyze data in such a way that the owner of the business can see that out of this 1 million customers, how much profit have we made from the sale of this 1 million product to this 1 million customers. So you need to be able to analyze that data. I've seen a lot of data analysts that use Excel. So that's like one of the basic tools that people use for data analysis, Excel. You just have a lot of all these columns with all the data, and then you're analyzing data specifically for what the stakeholder needs the data for. I was talking about a data analyst I work closely with who analyzing data for underwriting. So in the insurance company, we have what we call MGAs, managing general agents. They insure people, but they are not the insurer. They are not the one that manage the risk. People that work in the insurance industry will understand this. We call those the company that manages the body that manages, or the organization that manages the risk they are called underwriters. So MGAs are in between the customer and the underwriter. So what managing general agents do is that they are the ones that onboard the customers, they sell the policy to the customer, they manage these claims of the customer. So, but what they now do is that they now pay some percentage of money to the underwriter they manage the risk of the, what do we call these people now? The policy holder. So you buy a policy from an insurance company. Let's look at the car insurance now. Yeah, a comprehensive insurance now. So let's say you have company A, who is the MGA. The company A sold a comprehensive insurance policy to you to insure your car. What they would do is that maybe you pay $10,000 or $10,000 for that for the policy. They will pay like $6,000 to the underwriter that is managing the risk. So in a situation whereby you got an accident, you got involved in an accident and the car needs to be repaired, what the company A, who is the managing general agent, does is that needs to reach out to the underwriting to pay for the repair costs or the cost of replacing that car. So what they are going to be doing is that what the role of a data analyst within that company A is that all the data that they gathered from the policy holders, they need to show it in a presentable manner to the underwriter to say that this is the amount of customers we have onboarded, this is the number of claims, and this is the commission you are being paid for each of the customers. You are analyzing data to the underwriters. So a whole lot of things like this, scenarios like this, that data analysts, their roles, or they are needed to work in such kind of organizations. We also have Tabloid. Tabloid is being used by data analysts. Mr. Oshinoiki, he joined earlier, and he also talked about HR analytics. HR analytics, they also use Tabloids. They're very big on Tabloid. And it's a very easy tool to use. We also have, which other one have I noticed that they use? Data analysts. Power BI. Yeah, they also use Power BI. The amazing thing with Power BI is that you can upload the data from Excel into Power BI and convert that data to a chart. It could be a pie chart, or it could be a graphical notation of number of customers, the profits you've made. That can be done. And that's like the role of a data analyst. You are just analyzing data, presenting the data in a better format to stakeholders to understand that, okay, how can we, and a lot of companies, even countries, use data. They use data research. That's what we call data research. They give presentations using data. They tell you that, okay, in this year, 2020, okay, look at the UK now. There was a data recently that came out that said they had more Indians and Nigerians coming into the UK, and they had more dependents than even the students that are coming in. It is data, and it is the role of a data analyst to analyze this data for it to be used to make decisions. It could be economical decision, it could be political decision. So you gather data to help you make decisions. Remember, I was sharing, there was a video I shared a couple of days ago that there is Spain is giving out a visa called Nomad Visa. If you earn more than $2,000 equivalent in your local currency, you'll be given a visa called Nomad Visa that gives you legal right to live in Spain for 2 years. So what am I trying to say is that it's all about data. They analyze it that, okay, if we have more people coming into our country and they can afford the rent, they can live within the country, they can go out there to get groceries and all that, it brings more money to the country. In terms of airline, they will need to fly their airline and all those things. Even the UK had to do a data analysis some time ago to look at the number of people coming into their country. And they discovered that the nationals that they were giving multiple entry visas were actually flying BAs, they were flying all these airlines, and it was bringing more money to the country. So these are analysis. You gather data, analyze data, and use it for informed decision. All right. Any other question before we call it a wrap? I think we'll be able to cover a lot of things in this session. Okay, let me just share this last one, advantages of remote work. I think that's what I was really big on for this year 2023. For the year 2023 is how can you work remotely at the comfort of your home? Advantages, you have better work-life balance. Let me just share that presentation. So advantages of working remotely, you have better work-life balance. Let me just expand it a bit. I'm sorry. You have better work-life balance. You have higher productivity. I've come to realize that when you work from home, you do more work than when you actually go to the office. So let's say people that work in Lagos now, and let's say you live in Surulere and your office is at VI, I'm sure that it takes about 2 hours going through the traffic to get to the office. You could have used that 2 hours to do some meaningful work if you're working from home. So it gives you higher productivity. Sometimes I discover that I'm just working. I don't even leave my chair to go get lunch. Then also have timeliness. Just the scenario I gave you now, the 2 hours, you could have used it to do some very productive, maybe you could be in productive meetings or you're working from home. You also have reduced absenteeism and reduced turnover. in terms of absenteeism, you are not well. This particular conversation, especially that point 4, it's kind of raising a couple of controversy. Look at Elon Musk now. Elon Musk is not a big fan of remote working. He wants people to come into the office and work because he feels that workers or employees or remote workers they are always absent for the work that they do. I have friends, I know a couple of people that are actually doing 2-3 jobs. And maybe that's where the world will also go to over time. Organizations will start understanding that all these career opportunities that we mentioned, it will get to a level that the deficit is actually increasing by the day. So it will get to a stage whereby remote workers it will be legal for you to do 2 or 3 jobs if you can manage it, as long as you are meeting up with your key performance index. So when it comes to reduce absenteeism, you are sitting at the comfort of your home. Even if you have COVID, you can still work. So, but look at it from the perspective of if you need to go to the office, physical office every day, and according to regulation, if you have COVID, you are not meant to go to work, right? So you can sit at home and you're working. If your COVID is asymptomatic, you are not showing symptoms and you're fine. So it helps to reduce absenteeism. Cost saving. There are many remote workers that don't even have cars. They don't go out. Most of them, they either just go to the gym close to their house. I'm sure Wale and Samuel and you guys are remote workers will understand this. You have a lot of you are saving a lot of costs because you are not going through the road. You are not traveling 1 hour or 2 hours. You are not in the traffic. So amazing, saving opportunities as a remote worker. All you're spending money on is maybe on groceries. Obviously, you need to eat. So you are saving money on cost. And then the flexibility, which is like the number one thing for me, which was part of what I personally decided I needed to change my career, is you can work remotely from anywhere, not just your home. You can be in a coffee shop. Although I don't always advise as a cybersecurity person, I've got cybersecurity knowledge. It's not advisable to work in a coffee shop because if you connect to maybe a public Wi-Fi, you could be hacked and you could have breaches. So I don't always advise that. But you can actually do it. There are people that are going to hubs, remote working hubs, just to interact with other remote workers if you don't want, because it gets to a time that some remote workers are actually getting depressed just working from home 24/7. So sometimes what remote workers also do now is that they just go out to remote workstations, work hubs, interact with others. They are doing their work and then they're just doing whatever they need to do within that hub and also connecting with other remote workers. All right, I'll stop here. If you got any question before we wrap up, I think we should wrap up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The video is being, the session is being recorded, so it's going to be emailed to every one of you. I believe that we have your emails, but if we don't, you can just send an email to techexpoafrica@gmail.com. In case you do not get the recording, you can just send us an email or respond back with the link to the video. If you have any question, please feel free to quickly ask, or you want to drop a chat, please go ahead. Is SEO also a test skill? SEO, that's search engine optimization. I think we have SEO experts now. Yeah, it's becoming a career. In fact, it's a career now, SEO expert. And all you do is to help organizations with their content that you can help them to optimize their search rate online. So we have that as a career now, SEO expert. You help an organization with their content, help them put it. Their basic business knowledge understanding about SEO. Like I used to tell my colleagues at place of work that when you want to post a picture or video online, it's good to rename it or put keywords. When you do that, there is a way Google will propagate that content. And so when there's a search, let's say that I have a picture, I'm posting a picture and I'm posting it, I label the picture Shola. Kenny. If I put it online or I post it on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere, after a couple of months, Google propagates all these things and it becomes a content that you can search. So if you search for Shola Kenny, and go to images, you will see the image as part of the search results. And it's because the bot could identify that image based on the keywords or labeling that I've added to the picture or video. So SEO experts know all these things. So when you talk about SEO, it's just a knowledge. You help people to achieve what they cannot achieve or what they cannot do. The knowledge are public domain knowledge, but people don't actually go to YouTube and all these places to learn how these things work. So you that can take the pain to go to YouTube and understand what search engine, what optimization of search is all about. You can charge people as a consultant, they pay you, and then you help them with that. SEO, any other question? Okay, I don't think how to align with your future webinar like this. Yeah, just send us an email, or we have your email now. We'll always send out emails, notification, and then you can also join our Telegram platform for information relating to all these things, opportunities out there. We'll also be sharing it. This event is organized by Tech Expo Africa. So Tech Expo Africa is social enterprise organization. What we do is to build communities. We want to connect communities in Africa together, people in Africa doing amazing things together. We constantly share valuable information. We give you connects on how you can get on board into career opportunities. If there are conferences that you can also be part of, we also give you all those details. So please feel free to connect with us, any one of us. We'll be most happy to. Yeah, someone is asking for the Telegram link. Let me see if I can find that right away. If you have any question, please ask right now before we call it a wrap. Or if Nemi is there, you can also help with the Telegram link. Okay, Tech Expo Africa Global. Can you just drop notes, chat, if you have gained anything in this webinar or in this event, please just drop one or two things on the chat right now. Just give us a few feedbacks that we'll know that, okay, people will be able to learn, people were able to get some impacts on this. Please just drop a couple of chats. You can just drop notes, drop it now. Thank you, Dan Favor. If you have any question, please feel free to ask a question right now. Let me allow you to. You can speak if you want to speak. Just have about 10. I don't know if Femi is in the house. I would have loved him to also speak a bit on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, we have it in, there are loads of sub opportunities in cybersecurity that you can leverage on. Okay, thank you, Nemi. I think Nemi also dropped the link now. So that's the link to the Telegram community. You can join the community. Thank you so much, Tosin, Daniel, Emeka. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you, Stephen, Tanya Wa, if I'm correct with that. York, Victoria, it's good to have you. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, so please feel free to join us, join the community. We'll be sharing a lot more. Mrs. Bukola Oladiji, it's good to have you. Thanks for being a part of this. Thank you. Thanks a lot to Peter. Thanks a lot to Samuel. Thanks a lot to Wale. You guys have been amazing. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Ayomide, for sharing the opportunity. So please feel free to connect with any one of them. If you guys don't mind, please, can you drop your LinkedIn profile on the chat box so that we can all connect to you.
Tech Expo Africa, enabling development.